with Filmology. Again, I'm Mariana. Please send me a tweet on Twitter about, your favorite films of the year, or whatever you're looking forward to seeing in 2016. The song that I just played was in the film Dope, which, as I said before, is not really wasn't really a really big film. It played in the Edinburgh Film Festival, which I didn't actually attend it there because I was busy, but I went to see it at the Cameo a few months ago. And it's a really cool story about these three black teenagers from like this suburb in Los Angeles, and they get like stuck in this crazy drug plot, even though they have nothing to do with drugs, just because they live near a neighborhood that has a lot of drug dealers and stuff. And they're like these really huge nerds, and they're really into 90s hip-hop, which is why they like this song. And there's some really fantastic music in that film, especially, the music that they make, because they have a band. It's kind of like a punk rock band. It's really cool. And I made a post on Movie Pilot last year that was comparing the three main characters to the characters from Harry Potter, because they have a very similar dynamic to Harry, Ron, and Hermione. So, interesting stuff, obviously. Another film that I really enjoyed last year was Turbo Kid, which is an 80s revival film. And you might not have heard of it again because it was a very small, limited release. I don't think it ever came out in a cinema in Edinburgh or in the UK, just in the film festival and on DVD. I actually only watched it when I bought the Blu-ray, and it's a really cool 80s revival film. It's like a proper action stuff, full of really gory stuff. It was inspired by the Peter Jackson films, the early ones. Full of gore, exploding bodies, dismemberment, but it's actually really fun. It's really exciting. It's got a really sweet love story and friendship, and it's a really sweet film, really, about, teenagers and BMX bikes, and it's great. It's really great. It's like, all of the critics call it the, Mad Max on BMX bikes, which I think is a great description, because that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, but anyway, some other films that I really liked this year were The Wolf Pack, which is a fantastic documentary, and Chuck Norris versus Communism, another really great documentary. Both of them are kind of they're about smaller people. I like documentaries that are about people who aren't famous, like Steve Jobs and all that stuff. These are about just regular human beings and how they live their lives. Chuck Norris versus Communism is particularly interesting because it's about how a small community in communist Romania managed to watch action films in the 80s by smuggling them, and it's about these people smuggling these tapes. It's really great. And in particular, there's this bit where they talk about the lady who does the voices of the characters, and she just voices the whole film, regardless of the gender of the character. She voices Chuck Norris and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's great. And the Wolfpack's about this family whose kids are locked up. They can't leave the house ever, and they're raised like that, and they find their sense of society and community by watching films, and they remake the films at home. It's really great. It's really fun, it's really exciting, and it's kind of sad too, because you're like, oh, these guys, they can't leave the house. What the hell, man? Who allowed this to happen? And the dad is just awful, just terrible. But I know what everyone's waiting for. I know that I'm not going to be rambling on and on and on about small independent movies that no one cares about. Talking about a few bigger films. First of all, let's talk about Star Wars. Yay, Star Wars! Everyone's clapping in the room, even though the room's empty. Star Wars was awesome, as I'm sure I don't have to tell you. If you haven't seen Star Wars yet, then go see Star Wars. Star Wars is the best. It's so good. Okay, it's not the best. Empire is still better, but it's a pretty good Star Wars movie. It's better than Return of the Jedi, and it's better than all the prequels. And it's weird now that if you go on the internet, there's a lot of people sort of watching the prequels and sort of pretending they're good. Oh, Anakin, no, go away. The prequels are terrible. They're terrible movies. Terrible. If if you go on the Belated Media YouTube channel, they made a three-part series of videos where the guy explains how George Lucas could have made the prequels work, and those movies look great. That prequel I would totally like to watch. It looks fantastic, it looks super cool, and it looks way better than the actual stuff that we have to watch to pretend like we're like Star Wars. Like, no, I refuse to watch The Phantom Menace and pretend that that's a serious movie. Terrible. But anyway, The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is great. Not only because, representation of different characters that aren't white males. Women characters. Black guy. Latino guy. Yay! Great stuff. Lots of ladies, which was really cool as a lady to watch lots of ladies doing cool lady things and also cool non-lady things that are, unisex to do. Like flying ships. Yeah. It was great to watch, Oscar Isaac be in a movie, because I always like to watch Oscar Isaac being in movies, and the fact that he was Poe Dameron, who was my favorite character, it made it even better. I loved Finn. John Boyega is fantastic. He's brilliant. I love him. It was really good. Finn is a great character because he's not macho, but he's not, like, sensitive. He's just, like, crazy. He just doesn't know what's happening, and he just goes with it, and it's great. He's a really cool character, and Rey is the best thing to happen to life ever. I love her. Rey is in my water bottle at this moment. I'm drinking a Volvic water, and Rey's in it. So I'm happy that, she's accompanying me on this show. Thank you, Rey, for giving me strength. And thank you, Daisy Ridley, for existing in my world. Now about the bad guys. I know that Phasma didn't really have anything to do. She won't have anything to do, I don't think, until the next film. I think now that, I'm not going to spoil the movie for anyone. Now that stuff happened, I think there will be more chance of other characters getting more exposition. So I think Phasma is going to have something to do in the next film. I want Hux to have an actual character. If you don't know who Hux is, you probably don't, because I didn't know until I went online to figure it out. It was Donald Gleason, and I've seen the movie twice, and I didn't pay attention to that in the film. He's General Hux, apparently. He's a cousin of Nicholas Holt's character in Mad Max Fury Road, whose name is Nux. He's really great, too. I like him. And I really liked the Nazi, scene when he's giving the speech. That was really cool, to pump up the stormtroopers to destroy galaxies in the world, yeah! And Kylo Ren is a really cool character. I have a theory that Kylo Ren is gonna be redeemed, but no, that's not gonna be, the point of the series. It's gonna be, one of the things that will happen eventually, and then they're gonna, defeat Snoke. I don't know. That might be what happened. I don't know. I want to know how Rey comes from, though. That would be exciting. And what about the old people? Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, well, General Organa, really, and Harrison Ford. Carrie Fisher is Queen. I love her. She's an amazing person, and the fact that she exists just makes me happy. And I love Princess Leia, and I love her as General Organa. She's, really badass. She's proper, yeah, I'm the general. And you just look at her and you think, wow, I trust you to make all the decisions regarding my protection. Thank you very much. So yeah, she's fantastic. And it's so refreshing to, see an actress who is, her age and who looks her age. She doesn't look bad. She just looks like the age she is. And then she's on screen and it's great. Thank you. Because let people age, Hollywood. God damn. Am I allowed to say that on radio? I don't know. Anyway, I will let you listen to another song because I've been talking forever. This next song is from Ex Machina. It's a song where Oscar Isaac dances. So, always fun, always good, always want it. Speaking of Star Wars, apparently Star Wars has made over $1.025 billion worldwide. That's insane. That's an insane number. That's a larger number than I can think of. And speaking again of Star Wars, there news a couple of days ago that the release of Star Wars Episode 8 will be delayed 7 months. Some people think it's because they're doing rewrites. I mean, they are doing rewrites on the script, which is why they're really delaying it. But some people think it might be because of the fan responses to Finn and Poe's relationship. I hope that's what it is, because it'd be really fun to have like a proper gay couple on Star Wars. That'd be awesome. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Anyway, some other films that I really liked this year were big films like Inside Out, the Disney Pixar film. It was great. It was a total worldwide domination. People loved it. It didn't really stay as long as I thought it would be, because Frozen just stayed and stayed forever, and it was terrible. But Inside Out, it's kind of like it's like that guest in the party who just stays there, and you're like, okay, I like your presence. You're not overwhelming. You're not obnoxious. You're good. And it's a really sweet film. It's a really great story. Really great characters. Doesn't really make much sense why she would have those emotions and not other emotions, but I'm not going to start nitpicking Disney films for their plot holes. I also really liked Ex Machina, obviously, just played the song from it. Ex Machina was probably one of my favorite movies of the year. It's a really fantastic science fiction film. Very basic AI premise, and really cool character moments. Really great character study film. It's not really about action set pieces, which is really boring sometimes. And it's got great character relations, great character moments, really fantastic performances by Alicia Vikander, lady whose name I can't pronounce, I'm sorry. Oscar Isaac and Domhnall Gleeson. Really beautiful looking film. It looks super sleek. It looks super put together. It's really well edited. Good job, people who did that thing, who edited it. It was directed by Alex Garland, who wrote 28 Days Later. So maybe that means something to you, because I haven't seen 28 Days Later. I'm not really into that kind of film. I like my zombies slow. I like my zombies like Romero did them. I like them to be slow and kind of instead of running super fast like The Walking Dead. Don't like that. It should be called The Running Dead. If they run, they should be called The Running Dead. Anyway, moving on. Kingsman was also really good. It was a really great film of the year. It was very popular. Everyone loved it, as they should have, because it was great. It had great action scenes. Matthew Vaughn is really good at making fun action scenes, not really tiring Transformers type action set pieces that really bore you and you're just like, oh, I want it to be over forever. They're really fun. They're very different. The end, when the heads explode, it's great. The actors have really great chemistry. Fun second act, fun first act, really fun third act. It's just great. Great all around. Sam Jackson rules everything. Colin Firth is awesome. Michael Caine is Michael Caine, as in every movie that Michael Caine has ever been in. So yeah, it's great. Now, I will talk about one film now that I loved very much, and I'm really upset that the world didn't receive it as well as I did. It's a little Christmas film called Krampus. And I know it might seem a bit silly that I liked Krampus, because I'm the people think that I'm kind of pretentious in the way that I like films, which is okay, I get it. But Krampus was awesome. Krampus should have been nominated for all the practical, technical Oscar awards, okay? They should have nominated it, because it was awesome. It was so good. It had fantastic special effects, really good visual effects, sound editing, crazy good. And it was just a really fun film. It's a proper horror film. It's a creature. It's a monster Christmas film that we haven't had in ages. And it's a horror film that kids can watch. They didn't have that when I was a kid. I mean, they did. It was like Gremlins, but I couldn't go to the cinema to watch it. So, because I was too young. No, because I wasn't born yet. But, yeah. I think it's a really great film. And I think everyone should go and watch Krampus. Do it now. Well, not now. I don't know if it's in the stores yet. But when it is, you should go see it. Another film that I think was heavily snubbed in the Oscars was Love and Mercy, the story of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. It features Paul Dano and John Cusack as the same role as Brian Wilson in two different timelines. And it's beautiful. It's a really great story about mental illness and dealing with hardships in life and sort of dealing with how the world overwhelms you. And there's some great sound editing in the film. Especially there's a scene where Paul Dano is like, he's got these headphones on because he wants to keep the sound of people talking away from him, and then he can only hear the sounds in his own head, and it's just like, whoa, it gets like, it's really frightening, it's haunting. But it's great, and I highly recommend it. I think it's one of those films that it doesn't seem like maybe that's not your kind of thing. Like, I'm not a fan of the Beach Boys. Why would I care? Because it's a good movie. I don't care if you don't like the Beach Boys, but also, why don't you like the Beach Boys? Are you not a human? Do you not have a heart? God only knows, man. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna play you another song, because, I don't want to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about all the films that I like this year before I move on to 2016. This song is from Love and Mercy, and it's Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. So I'm sorry if you don't like the Beach Boys. Oops. That was the Beach Boys with Good Vibrations from the film Love and Mercy. Moving on now to the films that I'm looking forward to most in 2016. No, it's not Doctor Strange featuring Benedict Cumberbatch. Not even like Suicide Squad, which apparently had a really cool trailer. I didn't watch it, sorry, but I'm sure it did. I'm sure it had a really cool trailer if you like the Suicide Squad. Or Deadpool. Although Deadpool I'm kind of looking forward to because I really like Ryan Reynolds. He's a cool guy. But I'm looking forward to, I think one of the films I'm looking forward to most in 2016 is Hail Caesar by the Coen Brothers. Because it's a Coen Brothers film. It does have Channing Tatum in it, which I'm not really happy about because I don't like Channing Tatum. I think he's kind of annoying. But, it's going to be a comedic role because I think he's always really hammy in dramatic roles. I don't like how he hams it up in the drama thing. But he's okay as a comedy actor, and yeah, I like Coen Brothers. They always get really good performances out of everybody, and they're both directing at this time, so yay! And there's got like classic Coen Brothers actors in it. It's got Ralph Fiennes as well, and Tilda Swinton, who is my queen. So it's got a lot to overbalance Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. Plus, it's Coen Brothers. I mean, Raising Arizona is one of my favorite movies of all time. Also because of Nicolas Cage, but mostly because of the Coen Brothers. As well, we got a tweet. We got a tweet. You should tweet us, because then I'll be able to talk to you about things. Rebecca, who's my producer in the back room, she just said she thinks that Hail Caesar is going to be really good. I think so too. I think it's going to be a great film because they always do like solid movies, Burn After Reading is really good. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is really good. All the classic Coen Brothers films. I was gonna say There Will Be Blood, but that's not a Coen Brothers movie. I meant No Country for Old Men, which were shot in the same town as There Will Be Blood at the same time. So, could have been, but it wasn't. Something else that I'm looking forward to is Spotlight. It's one of those journalist films. It's about how the story of a scandal of child molestation by the Catholic Archdiocese got uncovered by the Boston Globe newspaper, and it features Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Liev Schreiber, Stanley Tucci, so all these really great actors. Great, interesting plot, I think. A great trailer. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's like really drama. Yes, I love drama with journalists. It's like the first season of House of Cards, full of journalism and drama. It's great. I hope so. Anyway, I'm also looking forward to. I was kind of looking forward to Fantastic Beasts before they released that teaser, which I thought, oh no, this looks crap. It's directed by David Yates, so he's coming back to the universe, to the Harry Potter universe. It's got Eddie Redmayne. I don't think he's a good choice. I think someone else could have been a little bit better at that, because he's just, I don't know, I think he's not whimsical enough for the kind of person I think Newt Scamander would be. Because as if you don't know, in the extended Harry Potter universe, Luna Lovegood married his grandson, um, whose name I can't remember, but it's something. It's a weird name. And she married his grandson, so obviously he's got to be a bit weird because Luna's a bit weird. So I imagine that Newt Scamander will be a weird person, and you know, Eddie's Redmayne doesn't look weird. I don't know. He's not whimsical. He's not like wee. I was kind of hoping that maybe Donald Gleason could do it, but he's already Bill Weasley. He's already Bill Weasley, so he can't do it. They ruined it. They ruined it by casting him on that role that does nothing. Anyway, it should be a fun film anyway. Although they do call Muggles No-Maj in America, so that's weird. I don't know why they did that. That's stupid. Why couldn't it just be Muggles? Just Muggles everywhere. Why can't that be a universal word? Muggles. Muggles. Although in Portuguese, Muggles, of course it's not Muggles, because, it's in English, but in Portuguese, it's trouxa, which kind of means stupid. So, I guess that's a little bit more offensive than No-Maj, which just means no magic. Anyway, something else that I'm looking forward to is Freeheld. You might have heard of this when they were talking about Carol. Some people mentioned Freeheld as well as one of the lesbian movies of the next 2 years. It's about a police lieutenant who is diagnosed with cancer, and she's trying to secure her partner's benefits because they're domestic partners, but there's always this crazy stuff with law when gay marriages are involved, and it should be really interesting because it's got Julianne Moore and Ellen Page, and I love both of them, so yay. But I think probably the film that I'm looking forward to most next year is Youth. Youth is a Paolo Sorrentino film. I love Paolo Sorrentino. He is an amazing director. He did The Great Beauty, which I haven't seen, but I've only seen This Must Be the Place, but that's one of my favorite films ever. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful film. Rebecca also tweeted me just now, and she said that she's really looking forward to Spotlight as well, so there you go. But yeah, This Must Be the Place is a story of a guy called Shane? I don't know how to pronounce the name. But he's played by Sean Penn, and he's like an old rock star, like Robert Smith type guy who goes on a journey to kill a Nazi, basically, and it's like a road trip film, and David Byrne is in it, which is great. If you don't know who David Byrne is, he's the vocalist of the Talking Heads, and This Must Be the Place is a Talking Heads song, and they actually played that song live on the film. It's great, and the film is really simple. There's no like crazy stuff happening in it. Well, there's crazy stuff, but it's not like insanely made. It's just really clean shots and really beautiful locations and great framing. It looks awesome, and I'm really looking forward to Youth because it looks like that's going to be the same kind of thing. It's more about the characters than about things that happen or plot. Although they do have a plot. It's about an orchestra conductor who gets invited to play for the Queen or something. I have the thing written down, but I don't want to read it. Anyway, it's got Michael Caine playing someone other than Michael Caine, I hope. Paul Dano, who I also love, Harvey Keitel, famous actor, and Rachel Weisz. So it's a really solid cast, really interesting plot line, hopefully, really beautiful looking trailer, looks great, and hopefully it will be a good film because the director is great. So, I'm looking forward to it. Probably the one I'm looking forward to most. Now, I'm also kind of, I know it already came out, The Hateful Eight, which is another film that I really, really want to watch. But the 70mm roadshow is coming to Edinburgh in February. So I'm thinking, why should I watch bad digital when I can go watch 70mm? Because, hipsters, right? Is that a thing? Do people still talk about hipsters? Anyway. But the point is, I haven't watched yet because I want to watch it for the first time on 70mm. Because it's like this crazy immersive experience. Like, the sound is amazing. There's like The framing is different. It looks great. You can hear the clonking of the projector in the background. The projector in the background. So if you're a cinema nerd like I am, that's a very exciting thing. Though, you know, the people that I know who haven't seen it already has said it's really good. Although, like, to sort of like zone out after the first 2 hours, because then it becomes a Tarantino film instead of like, oh, interesting Tarantino film. Just like blood and gore. Which I don't mind, but sometimes it's like, just be less obvious, please. Anyway, moving on, how about we play some more music? This is from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, another film that I really liked from this year, from 2015. It's a great independent teen film. It's got really great characters and really great music. So this is by Cat Stevens, called Trouble. That was Trouble by Cat Stevens. And before I move on to the more independent films that I'm looking forward to in 2016, there's a comedy coming out called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. It's about a journalist trying to recount her wartime coverage of Afghanistan and Pakistan. It does seem like a drama, more like dramatic plotline than comedies usually have, but I've seen the trailer. It looks great, and it's a Tina Fey film. Features Martin Freeman, so obviously I'm gonna love it. It's also got Margot Robbie and Billy Bob Thornton and Josh Charles and Alfred Molina, and it's directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, who, if you don't know who they are, they're the directors of Crazy Stupid Love and I Love You, Philip Morris. So you know that they have a good comedic timing head. They have a good eye for comedy, and not just kind of like, you know, Judd Apatow improv comedy, which can be good in its own place, but it's great when, you know, they can make comedy like cinematic, and they can do that, I think, with their actors. And I Love You, Philip Morris is a really strange film. It has Jim Carrey and Ewan McGregor, and it's about these gay guys who meet in prison, and then I'm sorry, I'm sick. I've got a cold, so. But they have this really strange relationship, and one, I think Jim Carrey is like the protector one, and Ewan McGregor is very kind of like, it's very submissive, and their relationship is great, and it's a really funny film. It's also kind of dramatic and a bit sad at times, but it's great. So you know that these guys can do it right. So hopefully, you know, Tina Fey's there, and she's great, and everyone else is great, so it should be great. Though Martin Freeman plays a Scottish guy, so I don't know how that's gonna turn out. he does do good accents, but you never know. Anyway, moving on to the indie movies that annoy people when I talk about them. First up, you have Hitchcock and Truffaut. That one looks amazing, mostly because it's a documentary, and I love documentaries. And secondly, because it has all the people that I love in it. It's got Wes Anderson and Peter Bogdanovich and David Fincher and Kurosawa and Martin Scorsese, and it's about these filmmakers talking about how Hitchcock influenced them, and it's also about the famous Hitchcock-Truffaut interview. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. It's really great. It's super comprehensive. Like, it's a book interview essentially, and it's awesome. Like, it's super long, it's super detailed. Hitchcock explains his method and how he makes each of his films. It's absolutely wonderful, and you know, it's just eye-opening to see how he does it. And I'm looking forward to seeing this film mostly because of that, because I can't wait to sort of experience that visually, and like, how did Wes Anderson get, you know, stuff from Hitchcock? Like, I want to know how that happened. And I love to watch documentaries about filmmaking and filmmakers and stuff, so even better for me. And another film that I'm really, really, really looking forward to the most this year, probably, is Anomalisa. The newest, since, I think it's the first one since Synecdoche, New York, might be. The first one, yeah, from Charlie Kaufman and Duke Johnson. It's a stop-motion film, so even more exciting. And it's about, well, it doesn't really it doesn't really have a plot, like a proper plot. The IMDb page says a man crippled by mundanity of his life experiences something out of ordinary. What does that mean? I don't know, because I haven't seen the film yet. I haven't seen the film, so I don't know. But yeah, it's his first film since Synecdoche, New York, and it's his second directorial feature film. So, of course, I'm excited because I love Charlie Kaufman. Although Synecdoche, New York makes me really sad, but there's something about his melancholy that isn't oppressive. It just sort of carries you like it cradles you, and it sort of carries you through the melancholy, and after that you feel like refreshed, you know. Although Synecdoche, New York is a bit sadder than these other films. Like, all of his films are a bit sad, you know. Eternal Sunshine's very sad. Adaptation's a bit sad, except, you know, the death bit. That's pretty sad. But you know, I think this is probably going to be similar to that. The cast is, you know, just David Thewlis, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Tom Noonan. It's not like big cast, but they never really are, except maybe John Malkovich, being John Malkovich. But he never really has big cast because, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, the casting isn't that important. Well, that's not true, because they had Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey, and then Meryl Streep and Nick Cage. So I'm lying, but it doesn't matter. The cast isn't really important. It's what he does with these actors. Him and the directors, Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry, but, you know, these are the most famous ones. I forgot what the other one was. But it doesn't matter. Point is, his films are always interesting, and now that I'm doing the show alone, I can fangirl about him with no one complaining about it. Yes! But yeah, it's great, and I'm really looking forward to it, mostly because, you know, Charlie Kaufman's awesome. Finally, probably one of the films that I'm looking forward to the most, because I've been looking forward to it for ages, is Nocturnal Animals. It's the newest release by Tom Ford. I know. I'm still a bit like, what? Tom Ford makes movies? He made the hit film A Single Man in 2009. It's a drama with Colin Firth and Matthew Good and Julianne Moore and Nicholas Hoult, and it's very sad and it's very beautiful and it looks amazing, and all the glasses are really cool because they're Tom Ford glasses. Tom Ford has a great eye for color. Like, the colors of the film look beautiful, and the symbolism with the colors is great. He has a great eye for framing, great eye for how things should look, for mise-en-scène, for everything. It's great. They're technically really great. And I really like A Single Man as a story itself. It's a book by Christopher Isherwood, which is great. It's a really good book, so you should read it. But it's a really great film. It's very sad. It's about this guy who's trying to cope with his boyfriend's death, and obviously it's heartbreaking because of that. But there's a kind of hope to it with how he talks to people. Jennifer Goodwin is in as well, and it's just beautiful. It looks absolutely stunning, and Nocturnal Animals it's based on a book as well, by someone whose name I can't remember, but it's a story about a woman called Susan Morrow whose ex-husband sends her his manuscript, and this is a story of what's his name? Of this guy called Tony Hastings, who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and Susan Morrow's played by Amy Adams, and she's like fascinated by his story. So I'm imagining that this film is going to take part both in real life and in the book, and we're going to follow both of their lives and like how they intertwined. And in the Goodreads thing, it says that as the Hastings' ordinary civilized lives are disastrously, violently set off course, Susan is plunged back into the past, forced to confront the darkness that inhabits her, and driven to name the fear that gnaws at her future and will change her life. That sounds very dramatic, and I'm really looking forward to it. It has, as I said before, Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams, Armie Hammer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Michael Shannon, and Isla Fisher. Isla Fisher and Amy Adams in the same movie. How are we gonna tell them apart? That can't be good. I can't ever tell them apart. They just look so similar. They had the same face. I mean, I guess if you put them in the same frame, you'll be like, okay, I see the difference. They're redheads, but Isla Fisher has a smaller face. And Amy Adams has bigger eyes. Or is it the other way around? I don't know. It's weird, man. But anyway. Yeah, so these are the films that I'm really looking forward to this year. There's plenty of good stuff coming out. This seems like a great year for movies. Go movies! Probably more great stuff that I don't know about is coming out as well. I only found stuff on IMDb, so there might be great stuff that isn't there. I'm also looking forward to seeing what kind of independent horror movies come out, and talking about stuff here on the radio. I have a bunch of really fun shows prepared for the next few weeks. I have a show on David Lynch, concert documentaries, queer cinema. So, a bunch of great, not particularly mainstream stuff, but, it's nice to sort of step out of the box for a little bit and sort of see the world and how it exists. And I figured I'd do a recommendation for the week in the end of the show, since I have a few minutes left. I recommend this week Tangerine. It's a documentary it's not a documentary, it's a film that was shot on an iPhone, and it looks amazing, and it's about two trans prostitutes trying to find the boyfriend of one of them because he cheated on her and she wants to smack him. It's great. It's really funny. You should definitely watch it. Thank you for listening, and please follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I have to get away from the habit of saying us. Follow me on Twitter, on Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, all of these blog things. And thank you for listening / watching, because I'm filming this to put on YouTube. And I'm going to leave you with Where Is My Mind by the Pixies, which is from another film that I really liked this year, Welcome to Me, featuring Kristen Wiig. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.
Stop.